The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Welcome back to the Brandon Peters Show. Hope you're getting excited for the Summer of 82 at 40 coming soon. But today we have an excellent discourse for you as we take a look at the film What's Up, Doc, turning 50 years old. Joining me for that from This Means Podcast and a filmmaker in his own right, producer of Tahuti, because I'll mention that wherever I can. It's Jonathan Graves.
Hi, Brandon. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. And you picked the movie for this, so this tying into 50 years is kind of like, oh wow, yeah, this is 52. So
Nice.
very excited to get into that. But before we get into that, let's get into you. You are the host of This Means Podcast, which of course was named after the 2012 McGee film starring Reese Witherspoon, Chris Pine, and Tom Hardy, right? That's where it came from.
I was going to let you finish the joke before jumping in. I actually worked with the marketing team on that movie.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
This Means War, obviously, is a Marx Brothers colloquialism. There we go.
Mhm.
And Bugs Bunny adapted that into his lexicon. So, of course, you realize This Means Podcast is the name of the podcast.
Which is a brilliant way of doing, naming a Looney Tunes podcast.
Thank you.
Which is it's crazy to think that, like, because when I believe like the first time I had Sabina on the show, she was talking about, I think had you recently started it, or I can't remember, but a Looney Tunes. I was like, wow, that's cool. I'm like, I can't think of many Looney Tunes podcasts. I'm sure there's a whole lexicon of them.
Well, there wasn't one.
But there wasn't. Was there not?
There was not one when I started.
Oh my gosh.
There had been 2 or 3 prior to me starting, but they had already died off, and there wasn't a new episode since 2016. And so I was like, well, somebody has to take up this mantle. And there was also in 2017, there was a release of a Looney Tunes mobile app game, and that game had players unlocking different variants of characters. So you had Daffy in his Robin Hood costume.
Oh, okay.
And you had Bugs in the What's Upper Doc costume. And I was like, oh, I could talk forever on these characters and like where they're from, the shorts that they're in. And I guarantee you that there are kids playing this that don't know where they come from because they're just putting them out there with no backstory. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, someone should do that. And that was before I had the idea of doing a podcast. And I'd been listening to podcasts for the better part of a decade, because when Batman Begins was announced, Christopher Nolan had come on to direct, and it was at that time called Intimidation Game. This was in 2003. I was listening to a Batman on Film podcast, and I was having a blast with that. And I was like, this is a medium that I rarely see have success, but I'm here for it because no one else is talking about this Batman movie that I'm really excited about. And one of the people from that podcast went on to create a new one called Modern Myth Media. And then they evolved, and now they have a Marvel podcast all about the Marvel Studios films.
But now they're not alone. There's a jillion Marvel podcasts.
Exactly. There are, yes, exactly. And I was like, well, I want the same type of treatment done with one of my favorite fandoms, which is Warner Brothers Animation. And where can I find that?
Right.
And there was no place for me to go to find that. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll have to make it.
Yeah, it's great. It's crazy to think about, and I mean, you've pointed that out before, and I've read interview with you and stuff that that these characters, the Looney Tunes characters, they're still here, but the just awareness and impact of them is like sadly not. I mean, we just had a new Space Jam, but I don't think that's enough to really emphasize the importance of them and have them showing up. But like growing up, I probably watch more of those than Mickey Mouse cartoons, but I don't even think
Sure.
kids nowadays probably watch the straight up Mickey Mouse cartoons from back in the day as well.
Right. So
You know.
now it's up to the adults. Now it's up to our parents and I mean us as parents to
Mhm.
introduce our kids to Looney Tunes because we grew up on the syndication of them
Mhm.
as they were put on Saturday morning cartoons, which we woke up for. It was like an event.
Mhm.
And we had the resurgence of them in the 90s with Tiny Toons, and
Right.
Animaniacs was also a tangential relation to that franchise, and Freakazoid, and anything Spielberg touched basically because he really wanted to reinvigorate the love of Looney Tunes. And
Mhm.
so they were on ABC, they were on Fox Kids for a long time.
Right.
And then we had new iterations of the Looney Tunes in Looney Tunes Show. There was Lunatics, which was
I
Looney
remember
Tunes
Lunas.
as
Yep.
superheroes slash. It was actually their great grandchildren as superheroes. It was really bizarre. But yeah, like they tried to stay relevant. And right now, I feel like Space Jam 2, as you mentioned, was a shot in the arm.
Mhm.
Toys flew off the shelves, so kids do know who these characters are again. And also, we have a new series on HBO Max right now called Looney Tunes Cartoons,
Mhm.
and the voice talent behind that series is incredible. And they have brand new shorts the same length as they were back in the 40s, and they're trying to do the same kind of thing where it's short comedy vaudevillian setups, and they're treating the characters with so much respect. And the places that they go in these are so dark though that it's like, oh, it's like I remember this but darker.
Yeah.
And so there's new fun to be had from an adult standpoint as well as a kid standpoint.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. I know like Warner Brothers at least has usually treated him with good care because when I did back in my QC days in Burbank, like we did the DVD set for the Looney to those sets that would come out. They were like
The Golden Collection.
the Golden Collection,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And they were, I mean, everything on there had to be like spick. Normally they let shit just like go
Yeah.
on releases, but these were like we went through a lot of versions because they needed to be immaculate. So they did. There was actually care in the home video department at the time. This was the mid 2000s
Oh yeah.
that they were really pushing then. And then I remember they had NES games. There was
Mhm.
those games and things back
That's
in the day.
perfect.
And Nick at
actually
Night
just
or Nickelodeon would run them too.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, because the rights were handed off to different companies, they were able to air on different stations,
Mhm.
and that also led to a bunch of our generation seeing them.
Mhm.
But also, I just did a podcast on all of games. Not all of them. There's over 100. I don't know if
Right.
you know that. There's over
That
100.
I had one on NES and I had one on Game Boy.
Yeah,
Is what I
yeah.
had for the. I might have had two different ones on NES. There might have been two that I had. There was a Bugs Bunny one that I had. It was hard as hell. I can't remember, but, yeah.
Might have been Bugs Bunny in Time or Lost in Time.
I can't
Or,
remember. I can't remember.
yeah,
It was just
there's a lot of them, but I just covered a portion of them on my latest episode, and I had on friends of the podcast, Vanessa and Elijah over at Kicking and Screaming Pod.
okay.
And so they were gracious enough to dive deep in that rabbit hole of old games, and we just had a retro gaming conversation. And it was great.
Oh, that's awesome. That's you. And speaking of guests, you've had some incredible good like talent that have been
Yeah,
on
thank
there
you.
as well. So
Yeah, we
like
had
voice
Eric Bauza.
actors,
Yep.
actors, creators, share about that.
Yeah, we had Eric Bauza. He's the voice of the modern version of Bunny and Daffy, and I love his mythology or methodology. There we go, about Daffy, as he has taken upon himself to do a impression of oh, what's the actor's name from Jaws? It's it's on the tip of my tongue.
There's a couple of them.
Mr. Holland's Opus as well.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss. So it's Richard Dreyfuss with a lisp. It's his Daffy.
Okay, yeah.
And it sounds so close to what Mel Blanc was doing back in the day that it's uncanny.
That's great. Because Daffy predates, Dreyfuss.
Oh, absolutely.
Stardom, so that's kind of funny that it came around.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And I've also had on Candy Milo, who does the voice of Granny. You can't have Tweety without Granny. And I've had on the director of Space Jam 2. And he was a delight. He also directed one of my favorite early 2000s comedies, Undercover Brother.
Oh, okay. I saw that in the theater.
Nice.
Back in the day. So
yeah, I told him about that mayonnaise scene and how I still think about it to this day. The little weird sound the mayonnaise makes.
Yeah. Oh.
And so I've had some really great guests on, and I'm incredibly thankful and lucky. And I hope to continue that trend and have on more talent from the show as well as the movies. We have a new movie coming out that James Gunn is producing. It's Acme versus Wile E. Coyote, and that is based on a New Yorker article, which was kind of tongue in cheek at the time, and now they're adapting it into a full movie. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. And there's also a new animated film. Actually, there's two, but the newest one that's going to come out is called King Tweety, and it's got political intrigue. So we shall see what happens with that.
It's excellent, fueling it back up. And of course, you're going to have James Gunn on your show, right? If you got Space Jam director, you can get producer James Gunn.
Oh, I truly hope so. It would be incredible. And also that's a connection to my wife as well, because my wife and I, our movie is Guardians of the Galaxy. And so our wedding playlist and like our couple's song is actually the entirety of the
awesome mixes
volume 1. Oh yeah, actually yeah, it's all of them. It's all the awesome mixes just compiled together. Anytime a new song is added, that's our song.
There
we claim it.
There you go. Perfect. Well, that's wonderful. And as of this recording, I don't know if it'll be that way on Monday that you're listening to this, listener, but you're one follower away on Instagram from 1,000 on This Means Podcast. So if you're listening, be that person to click it over to 1,000. I don't get anything for saying this, but that's horrible to sit and hover at. Like, well, 999. So one more follower.
I don't feel too horrible. It has been growing rapidly, and I currently I've teamed up with a Connecticut museum. There's an animation museum in Connecticut, and they have teamed up with me to give away a free Looney Tune art piece. That's actually it is signed by one of the estates of Virgil Ross, who was an animator in the early Looney Tunes, so the 30s and 40s. And this art is available online. You can check it out. Obviously, over at my podcast Instagram, you can check it out at This Means Pod over there. And yeah, I'm currently sitting at 99, but I feel like that is going to lift off as soon as people get wind of this giveaway. And it's with Barker Animation, Art Gallery, and Collectibles. But you can read all the rules over there.
Oh, excellent. That's great. And I like this thing you're doing. And hopefully, you know what, I hate to give you competition, but maybe you will inspire more Looney Tunes podcasts. So someone's like,
welcome them.
Jonathan just doesn't cover it the way I would. Wait, I should make my own. And then it just grows and grows. And then you get the youthful Gen Z Looney Tunes podcast.
Well, since I started, there actually is one more podcast that popped up.
There you go. There you
go. I welcome the competition. I don't find it to be competitive at all, because we're talking
about... They just have to have the OG guests on their show, right? That's what they got to do.
Yeah. No, but like the more people that talk about it, the more relevant they become. And that's the whole point of
exactly.
Everything. And also, you know, as far as an advocate for podcasting, if you're passionate about something, it doesn't have to be Looney Tunes or movies. If you're passionate about something, talk about it. Find your audience and like find others like yourself that have shared interest. And that's what I'm all about.
Yeah. Well, I've also, this is just going on a podcasting in general and speaking with a fellow podcaster is always fun to tell you, but like, I I'm not the most active on your Twitters or whatever, or Twitter tweeting, because I had the realization, I'm like, the other day, like, podcast is like my social media. Like, what I speak in more than 140 text characters, like that's where I've met with people talking, and my thoughts come out through conversation, and so you can hear me and understand what I'm like, and coming from on those, or maybe just making a joke that people may not get in the Twitter form. But I'm like, I kind of had that realization recently, and I'm like, wait, I come up like, I should tweet more, I should do this, but like I don't like to tweet when I'm like doing things. Like I'm watching a movie, I'm watching a show, I'll tweet out, or I'm like, you know what, I don't want to get sucked down that hole, or I'm editing, recording, writing, stuff like that. So I'm like, I think that is my social media, is podcasting. So it could be your form of social media if you're not into all those or anything like that. So
yeah, totally.
That's a plug for podcasting.
There you go.
So,
go find a mic. Just, it doesn't have to be the best one. Just set it up and get going.
Hopefully you improve as you go along, if you like it. That's what I tell people. I'm like, don't spend too much. You might not like it. Yeah. And consistency will win you out. Like, that's what it is. If you can keep yourself consistent and stick around, good things will happen, just for the sheer, idea of like being around. But yeah. So.
I just love discovering what people are passionate about.
Yeah.
As I'm scrolling through iTunes or Spotify podcast, things that are, I just had a friend that started a true crime one.
Okay.
She's producing a true crime podcast, and I'm like, yeah, go for it. Whatever makes you happy. True crime is not my thing. I think it's Tweety Bird's thing.
Okay. Gotcha.
Loves to find mystery. And I would listen to hours of Tweety Bird talking about true crime. But
I'm looking. I'm still waiting on the Tiddlywinks Championships of the 1970s podcast. For Tiddlywinks, just the 1970s championships.
Just 1970s. You should start it.
I don't know a thing about them. I just want it to exist. That's all. That's what I want. So
that's another good reason to start a podcast, just to do research. Like,
you be the guy. You're the expert. You're the person. Like, you got to find the niche, the most niche, and just harp on it, stick to it. You might not even be into it, just be the expert, and then they call you up.
When I started the Looney Tunes podcast, people were like, oh, that's very niche, because at the time, Space Jam hadn't come out, the HBO Max series hadn't launched yet, like, it was dead. I started in 2019, and it was right before Warner Brothers revamped their entire platform, because right now they have this thing where an intern is running all their social media. And it's a funny gag. But, before that, it was just relaying of clips, like old clips that they were just putting out, and it was unrelated to anything. And I was like, you know what? This is dead. This is revived.
This is the end. That fucking mouse made it.
I didn't want it to be the end. And obviously it was to combat Disney. That was the whole thing. Like, there was too much Disney in my life.
Too much in all of ours. Needless to say, though I do enjoy a good lot of it, I also like slap myself for it too sometimes. But yeah, so that's your podcast. It dropped. What day of the week does it drop again?
Thursday nights.
So Friday mornings for some of you.
Friday mornings, yeah.
For some of you. But yeah, that's This Mean Podcast. You got anything more to shed light on with that, or?
Well, I have one thing. Okay. The director of King Tweety has reached out to me on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
And said that she'll come on the podcast to discuss the movie with me.
That's exciting news. Awesome. That
is coming in July of this year.
Okay. I will be off that time doing I have those episodes of my show recorded. So I'm good. But yeah, I look forward to listening. I'll have time to watch King Tweety and then head to This Means Podcast, your only source, or best source right now, of all things Looney Tunes. This man, follow on Instagram. If it's $9.99 on Monday, you better be 1,000. If it's 1,000, be 1,001 or 2 or 3 or 4. Let's get it up there. All right. So we'll move on to our film. What's up?
Thank you,
Doc. All right. So it's This is directed
Very
by
appropriately titled movie.
Oh, perfect. Directed by Peter Bogdanovich, written by Buck Henry, David Newman, Robert Benton, and starring Barbara Streisand. Streisand. Ryan O'Neal, Madeline Kahn, Kenneth Mars, Austin Pendleton, Randy Quaid, Sorrel Brooke, and Michael Murphy. It's about the accidental mix-up of 4 identical plaid overnight bags, which leads to a series of increasingly wild and wacky situations. This, of course, shares its name with the 1950s cartoon of the same name and Bugs Bunny's famous catchphrase. So, Jonathan, this is your pick of a movie. What, obviously Looney Tunes related, but let us know what it is you brought this one to the table.
Well, first of all, this is a underrated gem of a movie. The tagline is literally "Screwball comedies, remember those."
I mean, love that.
Do we remember those? Because I was watching this going, oh yeah, they made movies like this at once upon a time. And I had the privilege of seeing this in a theater. We went down to the Aero Theater here in Los Angeles, and we caught it on the weekend of Valentine's Day. And I could not have had a better viewing experience. And Sabina and I were just sitting there laughing at the absurdity that was on screen. But it was overjoyous laughter that we were joining in with the audience. And it had been so long since we had felt that in the theater.
Yeah.
Or felt that anywhere, because, obviously 2020 shut down everything.
Right.
But having that communal experience back in that way, it was so rewarding. And I knew that this entire, filmography of Peter Bogdanovich was put up on screen to honor the man.
Mhm.
And I never got to meet him. I had friends that met him, and they said he was very warm, very nice. And he always gave sound advice to upcoming filmmakers. And I wish I could have had the chance to meet him, but I'm so glad that he put together this ragtag group of people and came up with this script. And it is
on the fly too, from what I
bonkers.
understand.
Yes,
they hurried this thing up because Streisand wanted to work with him, and he was, let's get something done. And this is him coming off the Last Picture Show too, which he was nominated Best Director. That was his breakout movie. He lost it to William Friedkin for The French Connection.
Not a bad film to lose it to.
No. I mean, you look at this like, okay. And then Paper Moon's his next movie. Like, this is one of the best 1, 2, 3s ever.
Yeah.
For the Last Picture Show. And Paper Moon, which have you seen Paper Moon?
I have not.
Oh,
but I'm going to.
So I watched it again. Like, so I watched my last couple days have been, I watched What's Up, Doc. And I was like, you know what? I haven't watched Paper Moon in a while. I'll watch that again. And then I went and watched What's Up, Doc again.
Nice.
Because What's Up, Doc, like, I could probably watch this on repeat, folks. Just gonna lay that out there. But
it rewards repeat viewings, especially if you're following the case.
Oh yeah.
The cases.
So Paper Moon, though, Jonathan, I recommend, because do you like the Coen Brothers movies?
Yes.
It is the proto Coen Brothers movie. Like,
wow.
You'll go like, holy crap. Like, it feels genuinely like a Coen Brothers. Like, this is before, this is like what, 14, 15 years before Blood Simple. Yeah. And it is, I love everything. Blood Simple,
by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, those guys are damn near perfect in my eyes. But this is like, you can tell they wanted to make movies because they saw this, and you'll see all the characters of their movies, their style, type of story, the environments, it is events. It's crazy how much it resembles a Coen Brothers movie. But yeah, Paper Moon, yeah, Last Picture Show, What's Up, Doc, Paper Moon, and it's almost like Last Picture Show and What's Up, Doc jumble together to create Paper Moon in terms of vibe. But
okay.
So
that makes it even higher on my to watch.
Well,
list.
I mean, because it kind of settles the other down. So the comedy's there, but not as wacky, and the drama's there, but not as beholden to serious. So awesome stuff. But yeah, Bogdanovich, I always clear like Scorsese. one of the best, so the best filmmakers ever, but also one of the best to like discuss film or historian, because they both make great rock documentaries. But they both, if you ever like, I mean, Blue, you're a home video guy. Bonus features, if either of them are talking on something, you're just like, just don't cut to anybody else in these talking heads. Let them speak. Because they're both wildly
knowledgeable on every piece of it.
But I do agree with you. This movie turned 50 years old last month. It was released on March 10th. I didn't see a parade for it. Granted, this year The Godfather is going to get that parade, deservingly so.
Sure.
But like I did my previous episode of the show was Cabaret at 50, because I'm like, well, people are going to talk about The Godfather. That's fine. But Cabaret won more. It was like the most decorated Academy Award winner of that year, and the most, I think it still has the record to have the most wins without winning Best Picture. But that one had a little bit of a celebration. This has nothing. And
let's celebrate it now.
Yeah, we are. It's the third highest. It's the third highest grossing film of 1972. There's The Godfather, The Poseidon Adventure, and then What's Up, Doc? Like, it's ahead of Deliverance, Cabaret, Jeremiah Johnson, Deep Throat. Can you believe Deep Throat, top 10 grosser of 1972? Well, yeah, people would go. I guess so. But yeah, like The Getaway.
People are disgusting.
Hey, it was a thing to do back then. It was new.
No, I know.
Classy porn. Not really classy even, but stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. But
in my research, I did find that people were so enamored by this film that they would leave the theater and then immediately go buy another ticket and then go right back in.
I get that. It is a movie that you could watch on repeat. That's what I felt, and I wanted to watch it immediately again. And I was catching stuff like again, or that I wasn't noticing before, or everything else. Because I watched it once, I hadn't seen it in many years, so I was like, all right, just watch it once to relax, and then I watched it once again for notes.
You said you saw it in college, right?
I did see it first time I saw this was in college. We were in my film genres class, and we were talking about screwball comedies.
Okay.
And we would watch some in class, and we would have our screening day was Wednesday, and this one was screened, and I want to say it was 35 minutes. It wasn't like I was in a theater, but it was a big enough, like it was one of those like classrooms, but like a movie screen was there, and they bring out the old projector and crank it out. But like I want to say this one was in 35. I want to say this is one of our 35. Because I know we watched this one. We watched Bananas in 35. And some, I mean, it was random. It was a weird time. It was early 2000s when it was like we had a film reel, VHSs, and laser discs that the college had. The college hadn't gotten quite to DVDs yet.
Oh wow!
But it was like, because I watched The Seventh Seal. The first time I watched it was a laser disc in a class, and we had to like flip discs. Like it was like 8 discs, and it's not even that long of a movie, but it was like flipping. Like, hold on. So it was my interrupted in a class viewing of Seventh Seal. Which, funny story, by the way, everybody boo-hooed about, because I guess like all the classes there. It was my sophomore year, because I went to a different school my freshman year. But it was my first year at Ball State, and everybody was fucking boo-hooing about the Seventh Seal. Fuck. And skipping that day, I'm like, guys, is this gonna be that bad? And I fell in love with it. So whatever they did worked on me. I was like, motherfuckers, this is a privilege to watch this thing. Like, I loved the Seventh Seal, but I also found What's Up, Doc here as well. Like, I always wonder, I knew the title, and I knew they made some live action movie that didn't have Bugs Bunny in it and stuff.
Yeah.
But
although he is in it.
He is in it. And he kind of is one of the characters, is like, the Streisand in this movie is very much Bugs Bunny. Like,
oh, absolutely.
100%. They even pull her hair up. Like, yeah. Like,
I love how she played it too. And
she's amazing.
All of the dialogue, she's given some really difficult when she's talking about types of rocks, and she nails it. And like, I am astounded every single time I watch that dinner scene
Mm-hmm.
where she's under the table with him, and it's just, it comes off so naturally. Nothing is forced.
And this
And
isn't like she doesn't have like a billion movies under her belt. This is early.
no, yeah, this is like her fourth movie, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she's on screen, she's radiant, and she like, obviously she had funny girl, funny girl or funny face.
Funny
girl.
And Hello Dolly were like two of her big first. Well, but Hello Dolly was a bomb for that studio, but yeah.
And so when she's on screen, she's just so vibrant and alive and like channeling that Bugs Bunny energy. But like, it's so unique to this film that I'm like, I need more of this. And there's nowhere to go.
No, there is nowhere to go. And it's funny. It's borderline like, it's funny, warm, goofy, and somewhat like attractive in a way. Like, I don't know what it is like that they do. But it's just weird, crazy. No one's pulled this off. Like, I don't know since. Like, this is a wildly. I don't think she's beating Liza Minnelli for Best Actress at the Academy Awards, but she definitely got overlooked for like a nomination for this movie. Like 100. They could have maybe done that stupid thing where they're like supporting actress because Ryan O'Neal's the lead, right?
Sure.
So she's like that silly like you're the like. Slumdog Millionaire, where they nominated the Slumdog Millionaire for Best Supporting Actor. Like, he was the Slumdog Millionaire. Like,
right.
But yeah, she's all over the. And it like, there's a bounciness to this movie that is so seamless, so casual, so loose, but like it works. Like it's incredible how this works, because at some point because these are long takes too, you would think somebody breaks, somebody bumps, and no, like it just floats around, whatever goes, and everybody's cool with whatever goes. Like there's nobody who gets held up, anything. And Streisand's going crazy, like, but it works. I don't know how they do it. Like it's magic.
Listeners, Brandon listed off of a laundry list of amazing talent here, and this is the first theatrical appearance of Madeline Kahn.
Yeah.
And she is incredible in this movie. She gets overlooked because she's playing the antithesis to Barbra Streisand's,
but she's got great
character.
Lines too. Yeah.
She has great lines. She has great presence. She's never like annoying or anything like that. Like she comes off as like somebody that you don't mind on screen, but like also brings her own sense of comedy.
Yeah.
And then she has these moments where she's alone and they're hilarious. And,
right.
And you start feeling bad for her because she's put in these situations that are just terrible, but it all leads up to something so grand and something that really like pulls at the heartstrings. My wife is a big fan. This is not the reason why I married her, but but it didn't hurt. Her favorite movie is It Happened One Night. And that film stars Clark Gable. That performance by Clark Gable inspired Bugs Bunny. You could not have What's Up, Doc without having that film and that performance. But also, this film is a parody of Bringing Up Baby, which stars Cary Grant.
Yes.
And the fact that both of those films combined, mixed with a bunch of Looney Tunes and a bunch of wacky comedy, there's a full-on set piece in the city of San Francisco that is a parody of the chase scene in Bullet.
Yes.
And that flies off the screen and it feels like you're watching It's a Mad, 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 Mad World in the best way possible. But there's this running gag with a guy on a ladder, and he's in the middle of the street trying to hang a banner, and these two guys who are walking across the street with glass.
That's great.
And then cars come flying down the hill, and like you're so worried about them getting hit.
But you also know it's got to pay off at some point.
The payoff is brilliant, and you don't even see it coming. And it's done in such a way that is I feel like is unmatched amongst other like situational comedies like that have those like setups and payoffs. And this one just it's so smooth. And in watching the behind the scenes, everything was so methodically planned out.
Right.
And like yes, like the script was written on the fly and like it came together such loosey goosey. But like when they were in the moment, like that shot in the hotel with all the doors and the exchanging of bags and the timing of everything, it is so methodical that when I'm watching the making of it, I go, oh, this must have been so grueling.
Right.
To, like get all that done and also like have it flow in a certain way. But when I watch it as a viewer, I'm like, this is so joyous. And like, I don't care like about anything else going on. Like I'm so fascinated by the choreography, by the comedy, and then you have the firemen break down the first door.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Yes.
Yeah. And they're
I had that down. I was like,
they're
I
like
love
not
it.
even they're not even supposed to go to that door, and yet the first door the firemen come to, they start whacking it with a hammer.
And they were like, yeah. Like, no. Oh.
Not that one. But yeah, the flawlessness of this movie equates to a massive amount of rewatchability and the dexterity of the performances and I just want to say like the team that brought this together, like kudos to them. And you know, it is a sad loss that we lost such a talent in Peter Bogdanovich and we'll never, you know, have another one of his movies. But like this movie has lasting appeal, and I feel like this is a gem that should get rediscovered.
Oh yeah.
And
this year would be the year.
This year would be the year.
Bogdanovich passed 50 years is, I mean, geez, yeah, like, and like Bogdanovich I think Bogdanovich's greatest talent is to trust everyone else here, because I think he understands the actors, and all the actors seem to know their place, know their strength, know where not to go. The choreography, the set design, just making things go, like these door chases, and some of it's probably in the script. I mean, you got Buck Henry, who co-created Get Smart. He wrote The Graduate. He directed the Warren Beatty version of Heaven Can Wait, which was written by Elaine May. Like, talented guy. He's got a life pass for me for Get Smart. Then you have the writers of Bonnie and Clyde, Bad Company, Superman. You know, like it's crazy who's writing this stuff. I mean, the director of Kramer versus Kramer is one of the writers on this. It's insane. But
Verna Fields is the editor.
Yeah.
So if you love Jaws,
well, yeah, and the editing is key in this too. Also, I want to point out, and speaking of the people that Ryan O'Neal. Okay. Yeah. I grew up with the received wisdom that Ryan O'Neal was just this pretty-faced oaf that got lucky in the 70s in a bunch of movies. and people still this day will thought, and I Love Story, What's Up, Doc, Paper Moon, Barry Lyndon, which I think he works in, despite people go, I'm like, I think Kubrick knew what he was doing with that. And like Walter Hill's The Driver. Granted, I don't take in like Ryan O'Neal film festivals or anything, but everything I've seen this guy in, he's been pretty terrific. Like so I don't know where this is. Maybe, granted, all of those movies, great directors. You got Walter Hill, Bogdanovich, Kubrick.
Oh yeah,
and Love Story. He's coming off that. That was a phenomenon back then. They even plug a line in this movie, the love means never having to say you're sorry, and he goes, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Just to jab one back at his movie that got him into stardom. But
how great is that though? How great is that?
It's good. But here's the thing with him. This movie, he pulls off some impossible stuff because he is able to play the straight man, but one that's also goofily socially awkward, but never loses it, goes over, steps out of line, even though Streisand's baiting him to come in and have the fun. This is a hard character to pull off to make this comedy work, and he does it in spades. Like, I can't explain it. Like, because he has to be the straight man, but also kind of awkward, goofy, weird, and it brilliantly blows through it. Like I don't think what he's doing is easy at all. Like it's one of the toughest straight man roles I think around. And this is when these films aren't getting cranked out all the time by a studio. This is like, we got to look back. We got to capture this energy. And he did it. Like apparently,
I would concur, for sure. Like it's a really tight rope that he's walking. And like, for example, whenever he's exhausted and like he has definitely, pissed off his wife by not having her at this expo kind of thing where he's supposed to meet this benefactor for his rock collection that makes music. And you got to have some sort of injection of music elements in a Looney Tunes thing. So I love that it's rocks, but he gets back to his room and his wife has put his bag at the door. And without him saying anything, he conveys, I messed up. I'm going to be sleeping alone tonight. And oh yes, I need to take this inside and keep this secure. And he does that in like a split second. And then he opens the door and he finds another door like right after that one with a
the little passer through thing where it like half opens. Yeah.
And then it slams in the back of him. And like, it's a little comedic moment, but like he's able to portray such vulnerability without having to say anything. Yeah. And I find that so unique in this film. Because everyone else is obviously Barbara Streisand doesn't have to do that because she's talking a mile a minute because she's given Bugs Bunny type dialogue and it's always funny. But like he's the one that is quiet, but he's also never
he never speeds up or gets too frantic. Like he always stays in his pace, which gotta be impossible with all the stuff that happens.
Yeah. I mean, it just example after example of this through the movie. And it's so rewarding to just enjoy like as a viewer.
Yeah. And Bogdanovich makes him the lead of Paper Moon right after this. So like if he believes in the guy to take, and they believe, I mean, I just don't see this. Maybe he did some films that didn't work, but were they because of him? Like, I don't know. Like I'm just confused at this. Maybe people recommended me these bad Ryan O'Neal performances. I'd like to see them because of my sampling that I've had, movies that I return to frequently. Yeah, I know people don't like Love Story. Huh?
I got to watch more of his work. I'm excited to see Paper Moon now.
Paper Moon, and I think he aces like Walter Hill's the driver. He aces the kind of generic anti-hero guy. Like it's quite good. Like, but that movie, the people's names, the characters like the driver, the handler, the people don't have real names. So it's kind of based on, it's a 70s film, late 70s film, but it's based on kind of a deconstruction of that type of thing. And it's got really cool car chase and stuff like that. It inspired Drive, that Ryan Gosling movie. But yeah, so
that movie I know.
That movie, yeah. If you like that movie, this is right there with it.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, there's just so much stuff here that there's too much to pay attention to and enough to please you with one view. But one thing we pointed out, there's a lot of like riffs and spoofing and parody stuff in here that I think is like, I don't think the majority of it's not going to get recognized nowadays, even by older people. Like, I think a lot of it's going to just float over as comedic bits, but the fact that they still work is great. Even if you don't know they're a parody, I think that's quite genius and helps to its longevity. But I mean, like a kid picking it up today and watching it's not going to, unless they're the best film student ever, and they haven't made it to like the 1970s or they're at 1972. They're watching every film up to through history and they just got to 1972, then they're going to like all that stuff. But I mean, there is a car commercial parody on here for Volkswagen. Apparently with its floating, because that was like the ad thing for Volkswagen.
Oh, wow.
Beetle was, it was like, That's why it was floating on water, because that was the advertising scheme for Volkswagen. So probably in theaters got an extra laugh back then. To us, it's just like, okay.
Actually, I thought it was funny, but I didn't know it was a parody of something. I just thought it was bizarre that the car was floating when all the other cars sunk.
It was a riff on the advertising. I also the golf clubs gag. Like when that one is funny, but just overthink it and it becomes funnier, because you're like, why does he still have them? Why is he crawling? Why does he need him to go out the window? Why is he? And he's constantly just throwing it like, it's and like, why would golf clubs look inconspicuous when you're in the middle of the city in San Francisco? Like, the more I think about that and how absurd, it's just funnier and funnier and funnier. It just starts out, I was like, okay, I get that. And then I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, oh, but why would he need? And then if you overthink it, it's just funnier and funnier.
And he snuck into one of the guests' rooms and he's just sleeping on the bed with the golf clubs. Because he's like, these cannot leave my sight.
Yes,
this is my disguise.
Yeah, his disguise is golf clubs. And the absurdity of the one guy, he goes on to play Boss Hogg and Dukes of Hazzard, but like him just, he's like, you need to keep her busy while I go to the room, and he's like kicking her constantly. Oh,
he's like, I got to use my charm. And then he goes up and he trips her.
And they come out of the elevator and he's still doing it. Oh, it's so good. There was one I liked this time around. It was when I watched it the second time for this. I picked up when Fritz and Boss Hog guy are on the phone, and he's like, get out of there and don't let anyone see you. And he goes, Roger. And he goes, Fritz. And he hangs up.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was a good one.
It was a very Airplane.
Very tight, very there. Like it could you could miss it. Oh gosh. Oh, I love Barbra Streisand. There's a person named Eunice. That still works today. Like,
yeah,
that was the name. Oh gosh. Under the table there. I'm not repeating myself. Oh God, I'm repeating myself. That was simple but silly and fun. Oh gosh.
That's the whole movie. Simple but silly but fun. Mm-hmm. And also for those who like short runtimes, the runtime of this is only 94 minutes. And I feel like that's including credits.
Yeah. Also, well, the opening credits is like it flipping through the book entirely.
Can I just say, it's so rare that we get a storybook intro on a Warner Brothers movie like this. Right. And also it's live action. It's not a fairy tale, but it starts off like one. And it has a Warner Brothers like insignia engraved into a red book, and it's gold, and it opens. And then we have the first instance of a stunt team being credited in the credits, which is phenomenal because this film has an insane amount of stunts. And at one point, Barbra Streisand in a towel is dangling from the side of an apartment complex or hotel room. And it's over like 6 stories high. And like the stunts in this are crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of there's car chase and car jumps. There's bicycle chasing. I mean, there's
a guy on a ladder trying to put a banner up.
Guy on a ladder put a banner up. I mean, it goes all out. Like it's pretty intense. And that book, the funny thing with the book is there's little like nods and things like she does something like, it's obviously Barbra Streisand's hand. And she does something like she taps or something or draws a heart with her fingers on Ryan O'Neal's page, and she'll do like little certain things that probably mean something. And like I think Bogdanovich spends a little more time or does something like, so there's little notes. There's one where she kind of like goes, okay, come on, time, or like flip the page.
It was under the best boy.
The best boy, yeah.
That page.
Yep. Oh yeah. Good stuff. Oh, there's little people here too that like can just steal a moment. Like the hotel manager is great. He shows up just to kick Ryan O'Neal out of his room
Yeah.
But like, so his deadpan, his timing is so good.
It feels like he
Like,
comes in from another movie, and
right,
he's like,
almost.
"All right, nope, time."
And
Oh, I'm so sorry about the damage to the hotel room, and he's like, "It's okay, we have others."
yes, and Ryan
We have
is
other
like,
rooms.
Ryan is just kind of like, yeah, I get it. I'm getting kicked out. I'm fine. And then he's like, these are my rocks. He's like, yes, they are. He's like talking about his like music rocks. So he's like, yes, they are. And then of course the judge at the end, that is one of the most fantastic who's on first exchanges between Howard and the judge.
Yeah.
When Ryan O'Neal's like, oh, my wife is Eunice, but it's not my wife, my fiance. He's like, what? He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go. I want to go past this part. Can we get past it? If you can explain it, then we're. Yeah. Oh gosh. What are you a doctor of? Music. Fix my hi-fi? No. Okay. Get out. Yeah.
And we can't skip over the incredible Kenneth Mars, who is known for his work with Mel Brooks a lot. And, he just comes in and he has this raw presence, but he's also like the suspicious guy. But my favorite part is when we're first introduced to him, the benefactor is introduced into this expo kind of lobby area. And the protagonist, played by Ryan O'Neal, is excited to meet him, but he has 2 drinks in his hand.
Oh yeah.
And so he can't shake his hand, and he sees the guy coming. And then at one point you just see Ryan O'Neal's face go, okay, whatever. I'm just going to like greet him with 2 drinks, even though I'm not drinking either of them. And
well, he tried to get rid of it before. He puts it on a tray, and as soon as the tray walks away, some guy puts another one in his hand.
Yes. You just can't get rid of these drinks.
Right.
Sometimes you just can't get rid of a drink.
Right, there you go.
A Batman reference. But Kenneth Mars takes both of the benefactor's hands and just starts like shaking them aggressively and leading him away.
Watching his body stuff he does, like, 'cause I know like he apparently did a lot of improv with his dialogue, or it's all improv, but like
makes sense.
His physical wild cardness to him is great. Like, you just like, I was watching that too, what he does with his hands constantly and not letting the guy let go. Oh, that's such good stuff. Oh, he's definitely one of the better people definitely in this movie. And just to watch him keep getting lowered on his pedestal. I do like his, because he hears Eunice outside the hotel. He's like, Eunice, and he like never does anything with it when the fire, or does he?
Because he finds out that Eunice is another person.
Right.
Eunice has been mistaken for Barbara Streisand's character, Judy, because of her overzealousness, or overzealousness. There we go. She is winning the benefactor over, and this is benefiting Ryan O'Neal's character. And so the 2 of them are now like a couple in his eyes. And so Eunice walks in and she cannot be a part of this. So that leads to Ryan O'Neal feeling bad about what he's done to his fiance. But in that moment where the fiance, Madeline Kahn, shows up and is very apparent to be Eunice, Kenneth Mars's character is like overjoyed by the information that he's just witnessed.
Right.
And so in that scene at the museum later on, he's like, I have an announcement to make. I have to tell everybody that this is not Eunice.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes.
And everybody is quick, or Ryan O'Neal's quick to shut him up.
Okay. Yes, I remember. Okay. Brain lapse there.
All good.
But how genius is too is some of the naming conventions, like in this, like where in the script writing or something they come up, like Eunice's last name is Burns. Okay. There's a great exchange with the hotel manager where he's like, Miss Sleep is still burning. I mean, Miss Burn is still sleeping. Like,
and she goes by Burnsy.
Yes. Oh gosh. Oh, and speaking of the burning, the fire, when the TV catches fire and stuff, and Ryan O'Neal takes the ice bucket to put it out, and then him and everybody else are using like condiments to like throw it out, and the guy who brought in the tray is like making sure everything's like, so he's like going to the next course and everything. Like, just little things that
The
you're
little
like,
touches.
oh my gosh. Oh,
The
it's so
little
funny.
touches.
This movie's it's a great, Looney Tunes cartoon bits, because like if you like, there's Roadrunner bits in here, like when she's crossing the street,
Yeah.
almost like, I hear the burp, burp. But like, yeah, just the Bugs Bunny being a jerk type things are all over here, and just the way he films her too, you can just see Bugs Bunny as well. But
And the running gag of Judy ordering food and it always being taken away before she
yes,
can eat it.
yes, oh gosh, yeah, that is true. That yeah,
But she does eat carrots.
she does eat carrots and says the line, "Well, that's up, Doc." But oh gosh, yeah, like I said, Everly bounces. It's incredible. I adore this movie so much. Even more like going back to it now, I'm like, I don't think I adore it enough. Like watch, I'm like, this is genius stuff. Like it's for all ages. Like
Yes.
so much stuff.
Yes, truly. It's not rated R. It's
No.
it's fine for families, I want to say.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like
Yeah.
it's interesting. I started watching like with my daughter a bit before she had to go to bed, but she wants to finish it. But she was really into it. She was like enjoying laughter. She really enjoyed following the bags. Like that's what she was like. She's like, so that was the one that, okay, and that guy this, and yeah. Oh, it's so good. And there's such like, gosh, I'm gonna sit and just slobber over this movie for an hour, but there's so interesting choices. Like what's his name? The guy with the top secret information. Just the choice of putting his thumb to his mouth makes you remember him and all his stuff.
Mhm.
Because he does that multiple times. It's like his thing. Like when he walks around, he puts his thumb up to his lips. Just that little time. Like he's not the funniest guy, but he knows his place in this. He knows.
Everybody seems to know their place in this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when he says, "The people deserve to know," it's funny, and he's not trying to be funny. He's just that's it. So we get to know, and I love every single moment of this movie. It's wonderful. Like
I'm so glad I got you to revisit it.
yeah, it's been a while. And like I said, I've been meaning to pick up the Warner Archive Blu-ray, which picked up as well. Hopefully, yes, we jinxed it into becoming a 4K announcement any day now for its 50th anniversary.
Yes.
Which
That
I
would
do
be
like.
amazing.
With tying it back to your Looney Tunes, what was it on here, which Warner Archive tends to do a lot, is they put a Looney Tunes cartoon on ones old movies. They have no way of conjuring up souls to interview them to ask them how they were on these old movies. They'll throw a Looney Tunes cartoon on for bonus features, which I like that they've been doing a lot. But maybe a 4K revisit of this could get some Looney Tunes cartoons on there as well.
I was honestly surprised there wasn't one on here.
No, it is kind of weird. But I will say, have you seen Licorice Pizza?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so there's a featurette on that disc, which is a vintage on set type thing, promo EPK reel, and there's Brian O'Neill, Barbara Streisand, and Peter Bogdanovich. And Bogdanovich is like, "Hey, I want to introduce you to Brian O'Neill. You've seen him in," and he does everything he can just to not say love story.
Yeah.
So like he's that guy from this, da da da. And he's like, "Here's Barbara Streisand, da 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 da," and she's in the back. She goes, "Streisand." He's like, "What?" It's Streisand. And he's like, "Yeah, Barbara Streisand." She goes, "It's Streisand," and she's serious. Like and I'm like, "Holy crap!" Oh, that Bradley Cooper thing that has some merit to it there. But I get
that's great. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but
That's
she's
so
like,
funny.
It's Streisand. And he goes, "Yeah, she doesn't believe it's spelled with an A either. That's a joke on her first name." But I was like, "Holy crap!" Hold on. I think I sent some of my friends here. Hold on. Do I have? Oh, this is good podcasting. Oh, yes. So maybe if you can hear the audio. Did you hear it? Or is it
Sort of.
Yeah, but it's on your disc. But yeah, I was like, yeah.
I wanted to hold this up. So this is the short that plays at the end of the movie, and it's actually called "What's Up, Doc?" And it's part of the movie. It plays and it closes out the film. That's all, folks. Plays right before the credits roll. But I was just super surprised that it wasn't included on any of the bonus features on the Blu-ray, because I mean, it felt like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
To put that on.
Maybe for the 4K. I hope it deserves
Hopefully
a 4K.
for the 4K.
Maybe Criterion gives us a Peter Bogdanovich box set, and we get, because Paper Moon is not on Blu-ray in the United States.
Wow.
And the Last Picture Show was part of a set for Criterion with like Easy Rider. It was like Film Americana or something. And I know Warner Brothers lends to them. So maybe we could get like a Peter Bogdanovich 7 and get Targets, which that's not on Blu-ray. This his first film, which people really like a lot. I haven't seen it.
Oh wow.
But maybe we get like a Bogdanovich 4K set. I'd be down for that. I like what Criterion do. Like I like Criterion's got director box sets like Wong Kar-wai, Fellini. I like those. Like, I mean, those are most even like cooler than like a franchise box set for me. I'm like, oh, director box set. Oh yeah. So
what's also wild is this came out last year.
It was a reissue. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because it came out. I looked that up because one of them was like expensive. I was like, why the hell is it that? I'm like, it's not out of print. So What's Up, Doc? It was originally released in 2010, went out of print, and they brought it back last year.
Oh, okay.
That's what they did.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine who knew how much I love Looney Tunes, and he goes, so you've seen What's Up, Doc? And I was like, I actually haven't. This was in 2020.
Oh, okay.
And he goes, I think he had just heard about this re-release happening, and he goes, look out for it next year, because I think they're going to do a re-release of it. But if you can ever catch it in the theater, definitely go. And so I was like super excited about seeing the movie. I had no idea what it was about, like who was in it. I really didn't know anything, and that's kind of how I prefer to go into movies now.
Yeah.
There's way more surprise to be had. And I was pleasantly surprised by every twist and turn and every cast member who showed up, and the whole mystery of it, like the bags, and that's the first thing that gets you invested, is like, oh, I'm supposed to be watching this plaid travel bag. Okay, I don't know what's in it. Okay, now it's the top secret like government mystery thing. Okay, cool. And then like it just goes bonkers from there, and you're like, I'm on this journey. I'm ready to go.
Well, and it's a funny thing where it's back when a movie could just be a damn movie. Like I feel like nowadays, like, well, why is it top secret in that bag? Like, oh, you need to like that. We don't allow for MacGuffins without explanation. It's a device. These are movies, entertainments, not lives. Like, it's just, you just be a damn movie and enjoy it. Like, it doesn't matter. It's the bag. That's just the shenanigans. It's a device. It sets the choreography in motion. It's important. That's all you need to know. Or like, that sets this in motion, or what each bag means to each person. That's all you need to know. That's important to that way. It's got the rock. So that's important to him. That's all. That's all, folks. But like that's what you need to know. So, but it's funny, like I miss that movies just being movies. And like you said too, like I like going in movies like dark. I watched the trailer once or whatever. I'm not of that like MCU crowd that just like worships marketing. Like there's no trailer for Thor 4 yet. Ooh, okay, well I'm planning on seeing it anyway, so I don't really need it, What'd you say?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I would prefer there not to be a trailer and we just show up to a theater. We know nothing. We're just like,
just give me a poster. Just give me one poster. I don't need character posters. One cool poster and go, I'll see that. I don't get the love of the marketing and the love of like the one thing I will say we're off topic here, but like the Batman, the thing I've loved about that is like the conversation around the Batman has been about the Batman, like that movie not what's next, or there's the speculation stuff. That's fine, but the movie didn't have like an end credits that like left off for like it was like, hey, enjoy this fucking movie, and not like, well, I know this is coming out this weekend, but this one is coming down here, and then we're also doing this. And it's like, focus on the movie. Let's talk about what's here.
It was rather refreshing just to have a standalone story that is not dependent on what else is going to happen in this universe. And yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
To the point of not watching trailers, I actually, when Everything Everywhere All at Once, the trailer dropped about a month or so before the movie came out. And I saw that the trailer had dropped. I pull it up. I see maybe 15 seconds of the trailer, and I immediately turn it off.
Gotcha.
Because I was already sold. You had Michelle Yeoh, you had multiverse, you had just bonkers visuals, and Jamie Lee Curtis, and I was like, I don't want to see a single frame beyond what I've already seen. I want to go into this as blind as possible.
Right.
And I did, and it was incredibly rewarding. So I've got to say, if you have not yet seen, this is going to be my recommendation for things I've been watching.
Okay, well, we'll go on. We'll move on to what else now. So this is just where we talk about things we've recently taken in, other stuff, maybe something we've put out in the world, or just sat and enjoyed. So, Jonathan, what else?
Everything Everywhere All at Once is a new Daniels film. They first came out on the scene with Swiss Army Man, and now they have this phenomenal piece of work, which people are definitely calling the best movie they've seen in decades. And I would agree with that. It is insane and awesome and just full of emotion, and it's unpredictable. And it was so rewarding, just as What's Up, Doc was rewarding in the comedy aspect. This was rewarding on a much deeper level, because that's the story they were going to tell. And they really set out to make a piece of art that really challenged you as a viewer, but in a rewarding way. And I've got to say, like, this, I can't wait to see it again.
Yeah, no, I saw it last weekend. It's it's the best film of this year, at least. Like, it's and good luck, Doctor Strange, with your multiverse. But yeah, it wasn't afraid to be loose and goofy at times. It lives up to that title, which is crazy. Like, it really does. Like, in terms of everything, like, your emotional journey is going to be everything everywhere all at once. The movie goes everywhere all at once. Like, it really lives up to a title that is that ridiculous. It lives up to it. But yeah,
and the less you know, the better. So
yeah,
I don't want to give away any details. Just, if you haven't seen it, I highly, highly recommend it. And I know that it just went wide this past weekend.
Right. So yeah. I just got it here. We just got it here last weekend. So, and I was like, I was seeing it the instant I could. So definitely. Did you have what else that you're talking?
Yeah, I did. On HBO Max, there's this Lakers show. I believe it's called I lost my phone.
Winning Time.
Winning Time. Yeah, thank you.
I'm watching it as well. So yeah.
John C. Reilly, and it's an incredible cast of characters talking about the resurgence of basketball, I want to say, as like a pop culture phenomenon, and the buying of the team from a guy who didn't have the money,
right,
to the rise of Magic Johnson and his career, and just the changing of the game and the drama that happened around that. But it's so fascinating to see all of these behind the scenes players I had no idea were involved in basketball.
Yeah.
It's kind of a gangster story, if you want to,
a little bit. Yeah.
That way. But yeah,
I am marveling at John C. Reilly in this. Like you just hand him the Emmy now, right? Like, this is a crazy role, and he is just acing it. And the fact that they got a guy that was just like, I feel like I'm watching Magic Johnson, and that's weird. That's really weird. Like, I feel like I'm watching Magic. Their Kareem's pretty good. But
Adrian Brody is
Adrian Brody as Pat Riley is great.
yeah. All of the casting is phenomenal.
Mhm.
Uh,
Chickless is Red Auerbach on the Celtics from the Celtics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was good. But yeah, I definitely I'm loving that show.
and they just introduced Paula Abdul
yeah.
as the choreographer for the Laker girls, and like just the dynamics of the characters and the relationships are so thought out and intriguing. And this show is produced and created by Adam McKay as a co-creator, so it's got a lot of comedy to it as well. And
I'm glad it's good because it's what split up Adam McKay and Will Ferrell, but at least it's good. And I like the look of it. Looks, people haven't checked it out, but it looks like a basketball game on TV in the late 70s or early 80s. Like that's the aesthetic that it has going for it. Like it really looks
Sally
like
Field.
Sally Field. Yeah, I always forget Sally Field's on the show. Yeah, Sally Field's on it. Oh man, it's just got someone pops up like Mike Epps popped up as Richard Pryor.
On the
last episode. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we haven't even got to Larry Bird showing up yet. Like he's like this looming in the
pictures
wings,
of him.
Pictures and talked about. But it's really good. And I know like the people, the actual Lakers and people involved in this have been like, well, you didn't ask us. I'm like, you know what? We're probably getting some more honest. We're probably getting exaggerated versions of stuff that you probably wouldn't have told.
Sure.
So it's crazy, but no, I am definitely digging that show. That's my Sunday night. Yep, gotta watch Winning Time.
Definitely. Yeah, that's my current obsession with weekly viewing.
Yeah,
for sure. And then one other thing I wanted to mention was Sonic 2. I'm a big gamer from back in the day. Retro gaming is a big thing for me, and I always get like warm fuzzies when I get to play an old game. But Sonic 2
Mega Man for life.
There you go. Mega Man
for life. Yep.
And Pac-Man was another for me. When are they going to make a Pac-Man movie? I don't know.
It's got to be coming.
Or Bomberman.
I remember Bomberman.
But Sonic 2 is a full-on. It's easily the best video game movie ever made.
Oh, okay.
Second of all, the graphics and the world building that they do within this film feels so lived in. It is unreal.
Okay.
And there is, I don't know if you saw the first movie.
I did see the first movie. And the funny thing is, like, I am this one guy that like it's not connecting with me. I don't know what happened. Like I've seen it a few times. My kids love it. My family, like people love that movie. And I was just like, what is it with me? I'm like not connecting with this movie, but I'm looking forward to the next one. So
I thought the first one was fine.
Okay.
That's the level I was at. I was like, okay, it's fine. This movie allows Sonic and his world to come to life.
That's what I wanted. Yeah, yes. That's what. We got like kind of like classic '90s approach where it's like,
right,
we bring him into our world. That's how he's very funny. Like like Masters of the Universe got to Earth. Like that type of thing. But
this story approach is way better. And Tim Miller, I think is his name. He conceptualized and did a bunch of visual effects for Deadpool.
Yeah.
This feels like Deadpool for kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm down
That's
with
how
that,
I would describe it. And also Jim Carrey is bringing in a lot of the things he loves from Looney Tunes into this world.
Oh, that's good.
Such as the fake Latin of the Wile E. Coyote shorts. He does that a lot, and it made me crack up every single time. And there's also something he does on the Mushroom World that was very Looney Tunes as well. I don't want to give it away, but I highly recommend Sonic 2, and I know it's breaking box office records for video game movies and all that stuff. So kudos to that team over there. And we're just inundated with such great content right now.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. But as long as it's related to Looney Tunes, I'm going to be covering it. So look for me talking about that on the show as well.
Excellent. What else? I got a pair of them. I didn't have to talk about everything everywhere all at once. You had that covered.
Oh, cool.
I took in because the Blu-ray came out. I had to I still haven't posted my review, but Parallel Mothers. Did you see that one?
Oh, that is the Penelope Cruz movie?
Yeah.
I did not
Pedro
see
Almodovar. Oh my gosh, this thing is unique as hell. It's I don't want to just go. take it in. It's weird because it's this drama, but there's like things that feel like Hitchcockian horror or suspense stuff, but it's not that type of movie, but it gets there, and it's wonderful. Penelope Cruz, just
Cool.
she's amazing. Everything I'm a big fan of hers. But
Same.
this is quite a unique experience of a movie. But I don't think you'll be bored at all or anything like that. It's a trip. So I'll leave you
excited.
with those light touches. I went in the theater last week and I saw Everything Everywhere all at once, and then I finally got a chance to get the 3 hours and 9 minutes to see RRR Rise, Roar, Revolt. Have you heard of that one? The
No.
Indian film. It's this Indian film that is it's historical fiction that's like a superhero comic book movie.
Sounds like a little Tarantino-ish.
Well, I mean, it does that, but like this thing is it's great. The filmmaking on display here is unbelievable, like blockbuster levels. Like there's a bunch of CGI tigers and stuff in it that look really good, and
nice.
the action things they're over the top, they're crazy. They have music numbers and dance numbers in it, and it's just really good, like relationship dramas and things. And Ray Stevenson's in it. He plays a complete ass face because it deals with deals with British imperialism of India back in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So that's the basis, the background for it, but it's embellished and it's very mythological, superhero based. But like this thing, the best thing about this is like it's not afraid to go big. It's not afraid to like be what it is. Like it never apologizes for anything, how goofy it gets or anything like that. It's just there's like hero shots galore that like are awesome. It knows how to get like the applause moments really well, and it just never it takes itself seriously but also isn't afraid to. And like it doesn't have that, like, not to keep dogging Marvel this episode, I don't mean to, I enjoy those films too, but Marvel has that thing where they always have that this is stupid, isn't it, folks, kind of person in their cast everywhere that just kind of makes someone feel comfortable for going to a kids thing. This has none of that shit. This is just like straight up, no, this is what it is. This is gonna be awesome. And there's some amazing action sequences in it. I recommend seeing it on a big screen because it's worth it. But like I took my 10-year-old son to it. Like I don't think he's ever watched a film outside of the US that isn't like British or Canadian or anything like that. So subtitles, there's British dialogue chunks and stuff throughout, but like the first big action sequence in the movie, well, there's a couple, but there's one major one before the title screen comes up, which is an hour into the film.
Oh wow.
He looked at me and goes, Can I swear real quick? And I'm like, sure. And he goes, those are two of the most badass dudes I've ever seen in a movie. And like, and after that movie, it was 3 hours and 9 minutes of this stuff. He loved it. He thought it was awesome. So I was like, all right, cool. He's just floored by some of it. So
Nice.
RRR, it actually, the weekend it came out in the United States, it topped The Lost City the opening night. They both opened the same night, and it topped The Lost City opening night, but it didn't take it for the weekend. It finished 3 for the weekend, but it's been playing pretty good. And my theater was packed. Granted, we're only here. Was only showing like twice a day, but that movie lived up to it's been getting a lot of hype in the socials and stuff, and I'm like, I hope it's good. And it lived up to it. So, but yeah, I've been seeing a lot of good stuff recently.
Love when it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, definitely. But that'll do it for this episode. Jonathan, thank you for coming on and your persistence in getting on the show and selecting a fantastic, I love this episode already. I haven't even edited it for What's Up, Doc. But before we go, let people know where they can keep up with you and what you got coming up.
Well, Brandon, thank you again for having me. And it was an honor to have this movie be the subject of the conversation. I
Mhm.
have been looking forward to this all week, so thank you. You can find me over at Facebook or Instagram at This Means Podcast, or on Twitter at This Means Pod.
All right. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brand4KUHD and work at whysoblue.com. There's more from the Brandon Peters Show this week. But until then, stay film positive.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.